Hey everybody, welcome to the next installment of the Off Kilter Carnivore Month Preparation Series. Um, Tonight I want to talk to you about some of the reactions that you're going to get, some of the backlash that I've experienced myself um, by starting this way of eating. I also want to give you some warnings and some things that you're going to um, deal with, but it's just temporary. So I just want to preface that now. There's a bit of an adjustment period, and we'll get into that, but I just wanted to let you know what's going on. So if you decide to and you encounter some of these issues, it's not a big deal to you. Um, Many of the reactions that you're going to hear from friends and family and everything like that will have to do, oh, you're going to have a heart attack, this is going to clog your arteries, um, you're never going to lose weight because you're taking in so many calories, all this stuff. My personal favorite that I've only gotten from one or two people, but what I've seen online is a lot of people have dealt with this. People are like, oh, you're going to die from scurvy. They go, even pirates could figure out that you had to have more vitamin C than what you're intaking. Um, the big issue with that is vitamin C and carbs use the same pathways. So when you don't have, when you're not taking in carbs, you are giving a kind of a open freeway for the vitamin C, and there's enough vitamin C in meat that you'll have plenty to sustain you. If you need a supplement, take a supplement, but you shouldn't have to with this. So that's just kind of the whole throwing scurvy out. You're not going to get scurvy on this diet. It just won't happen. As far as the other health issues go, Dr. Berg actually just posted today on clogging arteries in this diet. So run over to his channel, check it out. I will link it in the description. But good stuff. I wanted to go over my personal numbers with you just so you could say, or so you could see that it really is helping. Keep in mind, I'm a fat guy, so the numbers are going to be a little higher than for most, but you're going to see that this diet has really helped. Last year, my glucose score, I was fasting at the time, was 75, which is perfect. My HDL was 39. Total cholesterol was 178, and my ratio was 4.6. I don't put a whole lot of stock into cholesterol. There's been studies after study recently that has talked about how it is not a contributing factor to heart disease. They don't really know what it truly affects. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in cholesterol, but that's always something people go to, so I wanted to make sure I had the numbers. And then last year, my waist circumference was 62. This year, my glucose non-fasting was 90, still good to go. HDL's 26. Total cholesterol 170, and my non-HDL 143, and my ratio was 6.3. Waist was down to 58. So I just wanted to let you know on that level that it does help. All these issues where the people are screaming, oh, you're gonna die of a heart attack and all this stuff. If you go by what they're putting everything on, that's definitely not the case. But again, I don't put a whole lot of stock in cholesterol, and a lot of people don't that you'll run into that are dealing with this. Another one of their issues is the amount of calories you're taking in. Calories are not a major player. There still is the calorie intake versus output as far as weight loss goes. But it's still not something that you have to sit there and worry about and count and all this stuff. Unless you're eating like 6 pounds of steak a day, then you're going to deal with that. But just to Just to eat normal, you don't have to worry about that. I tend to eat OMAD 1 meal a day with some snacks because I like snacks. I like snacks so much that we're going to have an entire video dedicated to snacks on the carnivore diet. I tend to do that. I used to eat intermittent fasting, which is where I wouldn't eat anything from 4 to 8 or 8 to 12, depending on the day. Excuse me. And then, or from 4 to 8, and then 8 to 12 I would eat, and then I wouldn't eat outside of that window. But again, I like snacks, so I stopped doing IF. I may pick it back up. I don't know. We'll see. But a good thing about this way of eating is that you stay full much longer. You know, our bodies are just designed to eat meat, so there's very little waste, everything like that, and it satiates us better than any other food, so you stay full longer. Most people who start doing carnivore, they get to the point where they're OMAD just because they're not hungry. So eat until you're satiated, and then wait until you're hungry to eat again. You don't have to make sure you eat, you know, the 3 square meals a day. Because remember, this diet goes against everything that we've been taught about nutrition growing up. You know, I remember in elementary school learning about the food pyramid and everything like that. And what you have to remember is the food pyramid was created not by the Department of Health, not that I trust them a whole lot, but it was created by the Department of Agriculture to help build up that industry, especially after the war. So it's one of the greatest marketing ploys of all time, but it's not necessarily the ideal nutritional guide either. So people are going to bristle back at that because of what they've just grown up hearing and they've accepted as truth because they've heard it ever since they were little. You'll get a lot of people talk about the high-fat diet. They don't understand it, and they're like, how can you lose weight on high-fat? How can you do all this stuff? But what I want you to think of when you're thinking of this diet is think of a campfire. So on the normal American diet, or they call it a standard American diet or a SAD diet. You never heard of that one before? No. You're going to have carbs and sugars and stuff like that. So you want to think of sugars as, or carbs from sugars, not carbs from like grains, carbs from sugars as kindling. You know, it's a super bright, hot flame, but it goes out very fast. And that's what happens. That's why they call it a sugar high and sugar crash. I mean, it's just, it sends you roaring and then you're down. Then there's the carb form of energy, and I'm talking grain carbs, not sugar carbs, that is more like the twigs and stuff that get ignited by the sugar. And then you have that, and it burns a little bit longer, but it still dies down. Well, then you have fat as your energy source. And that's like if you've been camping, especially if you're doing open air camping and you want a fire to go on all night, you're going to put a big log on that fire and you're going to let it'll slowly burn, but it stays burning. And that's how it is when you become fat adapted. Your body is using the fat that is stored within you and the fat that you take in if you don't have any storage like me to burn. It's using that for energy. And so you really need to keep your fat intake up. Even somebody like me who's trying to lose a bunch of fat, I need to keep that up. I noticed when my fat intake went down, I slowed down on my weight or even stalled totally, weight loss, stalled totally. So you have to make sure you keep that up. So that's what I want you to think of when you're thinking of a high-fat diet as far as energy goes, is the big log. It's gonna keep the fire going and it's not going to go out. In a few videos, we're gonna get to what to eat. But before we get into what to eat, I want you to know I want you to know what to expect for this diet. our bodies, before you go carnivore, are so focused on, or not focused, but are used to being run on sugar and preservatives and all this other stuff. So it's going to take a while to, for lack of a better word, detox, to get all that garbage out, to get used to running on fat and other types of energy sources. And so our body's going to go through that. You may feel like crap for a couple days. They call it keto flu, and they do that. You're not vomiting, but you may have the runs. You may be lethargic. You may be dealing with a lot of the things that you would associate with the flu. You just feel drained and maybe achy a little bit, and that's okay. It does go away. I mentioned the runs. You may get that for a while. Eventually, it'll stop, and then you're gonna be freaking out because it's been 3 days, 4 days maybe, since I've had a bowel movement, and that's normal too. And I know it's weird that I talk about bowel movements on here, but if you're a part of a group, you notice everybody has questions about it because it's not normal, so I want you to know that there is a new normal, and it's because our body processes meat so efficiently that it takes a while to build up enough waste that you need to expel it. So once you have adapted and the runs stop, and they do stop, you begin to feel differently. You start to feel incredible. You're energized. It puts you into operating in the way that your body is designed to operate. But I wanted to give that warning that you are going to go through an adaptation period, and you're gonna have some bowel issues, and you're gonna feel achy, maybe a little irritable, and it's just getting rid of everything that your body has gotten used to. They say, I heard an addiction specialist on Joe Rogan not too long ago, and they were talking about different treatment methods for like heroin addiction and stuff, but he says that sugar and food addictions are the hardest to deal with because you have to eat. People who are on who are like drug addicts that get off, they still deal with it, but they can remove themselves for the most part from certain situations if they need to. But you have to eat. So we have to go through that adaptation period where we get used to this diet. It's okay, it's not that bad. It takes just a minute, or not a minute, a few days, and then you're feeling great. You're dropping weight like you want to, or you're maintaining weight like you need to, and it's just awesome. So don't get discouraged. It gets better, and you'll really take off and really start feeling good. So we'll get to a few different topics in the upcoming videos. I'm pretty excited about, what to eat, how to eat cheaply, how to eat out, different methods to cook with, snacks. So we have all those coming down the pipe. So I'm looking forward to telling you all about that. I'm excited to do this month of carnivore with you. So remember, be self-sufficient, help everyone you can, and inconvenience no one. And you guys have a great day or evening, depending on when you watch this. Thanks. Bye.